Hi everyone, Rene Bastarache here with the American School of Hypnosis. And today I'd like to speak to you about having an office in your own home. This is a question I get quite often from a lot of my students. In fact, I got this question again this week. Should I have an office in my own home? What's the pros and the cons? So let's go ahead and talk about them. Number one, if you want to have an office in your own home, okay, is it professional looking? That's one of the most important things you got to think about. This is a business. People expect it to look like a business. So you can have it in your own home, but how is your home set up? The door that they're going to be coming in through, even you have a nice hypnosis office, do they have to walk through your bedroom, through the kitchen with dirty dishes all over the place, through the bathroom? Are you going to have a door open, maybe a storage room, they see all your junk? Okay, if they're going to see all that stuff, it's probably not a good idea. If you have a nice office in your home, that's great, but do you have a separate entrance that goes into it? In fact, my first situation, when I first started hypnosis a little over 20 years ago, I did my first office out of my home. In fact, I had 3 offices. I had one office in my home, and I had 2 other offices that I was sharing with doctors in 2 different towns. So I guess you could say I had 3 offices. Now, the nice thing about my office, or my home, I had bought a house right across from the college in the town where I live, and it used to be owned by the dean, the college dean's house. Okay, so he had it separated as a business and a home because he conducted business in the home himself. The way it worked out is I had 2 separate entrances. The front entrance went into the front of the half of the building, which was the business. So it walked into this beautiful foyer, and I had a big staircase with a safe built into the staircase. To this day, I still haven't been able to open it to see what's in it. It never gave me the combination when I bought the house. But anyways, it was a nice safe, big mural on the wall, and that was the waiting room. And then it went around the corner into my office, which was another large room with, built-in bookshelves in the wall, and it had a mural on the other wall. I mean, it was very professional, very good looking. It had a separate bathroom for business, a separate bathroom for home. And it had doors closing off the rest of the house. So when people walked in, they couldn't see any of my living situation. When they came in, there was a walkway right from where they parked, going right up to this full-size front porch, right into the French doors, coming right into the building. So that worked out great. So you want to think about that. Is your office professional looking, or your home professional looking? Can they come into a separate entrance, going into a situation that makes them feel comfortable that they're in a business and not in someone else's home? Because if they feel like they're in your living room, or you just pull the kitchen table out to do that, okay, they're not going to feel as professional, that they're getting as good a job done for them. Now the situation is, if you're doing it in your home, you might want to consider zoning. Okay, is your business zoned for hypnosis or for business? Excuse me, is your home zoned for business? My home happened to be zoned for business, so I was able to have a nice sign in the front saying at the time it was Southern Maine Hypnosis. Now you know I'm the American School of Hypnosis, but when I did just sessions, it was Southern Maine Hypnosis. So I had that right on the front, and on my door I had office, and in the restroom I had restroom. I had signs for everything. And again, I didn't have that in the personal part of the house, but in the business part. Now, if it's zoned for business, you can have signs. If it's not zoned, you can't. In some places, if it's not zoned for business, you can't even advertise it in the newspaper. So look into that. Find out what the rules and regulations are in your area. You might not even be able to do it if it's not zoned for it. Now, if you're not zoned for business, how is that going to work? Well, it can work really well if you let people know, where your address is and that there's not a sign, and, let them know just to come in as a waiting room or whatever you have as a situation. When I first went to be certified as a hypnosis instructor, probably about 19 years ago, the place where I was being trained, okay, it was a home. The woman was training out of her home, and it wasn't zoned for business as far as I know. She gave us the address where to go. We went down the street, and as I pulled up and parked, it was a very rural area, with lawns and little trees in the front and everything, and I didn't see any signs. And it happened to be, I believe it was a Victorian-looking building, and went up to the front porch, and I was actually kind of nervous because I didn't know who was going to answer the door, and I knocked the door, and Of course, I recognized the woman behind the door as the instructor. And come on in. I went in. It was her home. It was, professionally done. It was nice. She had pictures on the walls and a nice conference table in the living room. So it was set up for business. But that hesitation before, without having the signs, kind of made me nervous to the point where if I hadn't already spent a lot of money, for my down payment for the entire course, I probably would have thought twice about should I go in here or not. So these are some of the things to to consider before you do it out of your home. Now, there's also safety issues, okay? Do you have children? Do you have a lot of valuables in the home? People are going to be coming to your house that you don't know. Are these the kind of people that you really want to have in your home? I mean, sometimes you're sitting there hypnotizing somebody for something, hopefully not kleptomania, because you're going to be wondering, oh boy, is he looking at my house? Am I going to have to worry about him coming back? For some reason, you don't seem to worry about that when you're doing it in a business downtown, probably because it's downtown and everyone sees what's going on. But when you're doing it out of your home in a rural area where there's not a lot of people around, you might have that worry yourself about what if they come back, if they have children, are my children safe? What if he doesn't like the session? Is he going to be coming to my house, all hours of the night complaining? Or is he going to be coming to my house all hours of the night wanting another session or something, or needing extra help? Do you really want people to know where you live? So that's something else, again, only you can answer that. So now you have some of the things to consider, whether you should do it in your home or not, but let me give you some options, just in case you haven't thought of options of doing it someplace else other than your home. Number one is the most obvious, is to get a full-time office someplace on your own. Or you can share an office with someone. Something that I did a few times and I had a lot of my students do and they were successful with is you can go in the newspaper, or what I like to do is go on Craigslist. Craigslist is a handy thing. Go on Craigslist online and do a search under the business offices. Just put the word share. And you'll get a lot of places that will want to share an office with you. Some of them are psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, even sometimes doctors, but people who may be right in line with what you're doing. You tell them you're a hypnotist and you'd like to share, maybe have one office out of there or one room out of their office, or maybe an office 2 or 3 days a week, and they may be really up for that. But that's a way you can do it very inexpensively compared to having your own office. Another thing you can do is just go around to doctors' offices, psychiatrists, psychologists on your own and seeing if they have an office they'd like to share with you. Another type business that may want to rent out an office to you, either on a full-time or part-time or even per session type deal, are metaphysic stores. A lot of these metaphysic stores, you'll see they have hypnosis, they have tarot, they have people doing past life regression, they have group sessions, they have yoga, they have all kinds of things coming in. The average that I've seen is usually they charge you between 30 and 35% of the session. And you can come in, whenever you have appointments. Of course, you have to call and schedule it, or sometimes they'll let you have it for, 1 or 2 specific days of the week. So that's another inexpensive way of doing it. And if you can't afford any of those to get started, you may want to look at doing telephone hypnosis sessions right from your home. This way they're not coming to your house, but you're using the telephone. When we had our office in Philadelphia, Raluca was doing sessions all over the country. I remember she had a couple of them she was doing from California. So that's quite a ways, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to California. Okay, so it was great because she was able to do that. Actually, she did it right from her office. So that brings us back to the question, should I have an office in my home? Again, the answer's up to you. What does your office look like? Is it professional? How do you feel about it? So I wish you the very best of success with your sessions. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe so you can see our future videos. Bye-bye.